because I think this is a team that needs to be heard, needs to be talked about. They've done a tremendous job 8 weeks in the summer and up until this point, are really playing together a level of toughness, level of composure, and I think a level of intelligence. And they've been good on and off the court, so great group to be around.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, how much easier is your job, is, I guess, maybe fielding this year's team, since last year was kind of thrown together, and this year you've had so much more time to get to know who these new players are and to really build that bond with them?
Well, I think in respect to the team last year, we brought them into this program. So however long it took, we brought them into this program. It was our job to get the maximum out of each individual player. And I thought they did a great job of battling and fighting, just didn't get over the hump in terms of the X amount of wins. So respect to those guys. But this time, it really comes down to identifying what fits me more than anything. There's a style of play, a level of toughness and grit, composure, character, competitive spirit. And what we can't do, like I said to our staff, we can't get consumed with an X amount of dollars, NIL, revenue share, how much you have, how much you don't have. You got to make work with what you have, and I think that's the most important thing. But that can't be the topic of conversation. You got to scratch, claw, and fight, and can't get consumed with those sorts of things. But the group of guys we have, they've been great. And I think what the key is, Mike Osei, Bonsu, Zaxton, and Logan, 3 guys are returning to the program in terms of character, understand what we're trying to do, the level we try to play at. They've been great reiterating things in the locker room, after practice, and that part is good. Normally you have 8 or 9, 10 guys returning to the program, but to have 3 that understand, because they're selfless in terms of what it means for us to be successful as a team. So that exudes in the locker room with the other guys. So that part has been great. But just in recruiting, just identifying size, length, skill, shooting, all the things you need to be successful.
Coach, you talked about finding players to play your type of basketball, gritty, tough, defensive-minded basketball. That was a style that worked really well in the Missouri Valley Conference, kind of a Big Ten style of basketball. How do you think it'll play against the bulk of Conference USA and the style, maybe a little more wide-open game that they have?
Well, good question. I think, in the Conference USA, I think in 2023 there were 5 teams added to Conference USA. So I think in years past, you would say, I would say Conference USA was the equivalency at different levels of Big 12 SEC. Well, I think now with so many additions of teams, it's kind of Big 12 SEC, Big 10. So just who's style, and I think the key is who imposes their style on every situation. I think that is the most important thing. So we want to be able to play on both sides of the basketball. And I think you have teams that defend well in this conference, teams that really get out and run offensively, teams that press. But can we do both very well and then play with a level of intelligence? And I think that part has been lost in terms of when you're winning games, when you look at the games and the teams that the margin of error is so slim, who can execute down the stretch of basketball games and get the ball where it needs to go, defend at a high level, and get stops the way you need to. And I think we have the talent to play how we need to play fast, slow it down. If they want to be a grind-out game, we can do that. We can get up the floor. We got guys that you can throw the ball inside to score the ball. We got big guys that can handle the ball and make decisions. We have guards that can play on the inside, so we have all the parts.
Coach, other guys talked about just the uptick in intensity in practice kind of over the summer and how hard it's been for them just to get to where they need to be. How important was that just to kind of push them and sort of test those limits to know what you're going with the end of the season?
Man, when you're trying to be the best, everything matters. That's touching every line, executing every play, putting a premium on making shots. Like for every day we practiced, there's a practice that takes place. There's at least a 30-minute skill workout individually. There's a film session every day. It has to happen because this is your life. This is what we do to be very successful. So you have to be consumed with it first and foremost. So in the midst of recruiting a lot of different players and guys from all over, you have to try to find guys that love playing the game. And there's a competitive spirit, and you have to go back. Some of these guys you have to go back, even though they're 4 or 5 years in college, you have to always go back to the AAU programs, the high school coaches. What was he like? And really just try to figure out, because there was some guys that said, I just don't want to do it. I don't care how talented it is, but I don't think you can win at the level you're trying to win at, because you got to be able to make sacrifice. When you have 9, 10, 11 guys that can actually play, there has to be sacrifices somewhere. So you have to give up some in order for our team to be successful. But they've been very competitive, and the levels continue to raise, and maybe it's because we're getting closer to playing. But man, it's to find 5, and then I think there's safely 10 guys that'll truly play in a game that could be 11.
Coach, how much does the additional size you have this year help you in terms of being able to do more things?
Well, I mean, I've never been a guy to go out and say, okay, we need to get this amount of 7-footers, this amount of that. I think you want to get talented guys, but I think it was apparent last year with Michael Osei-Bonso, as tough as they come at any level. I think this guy's as tough as you name a play. But at 6'4.5", 6'5", and you're talking about you 20, 25, 30 minutes, all of a sudden his play drops, the later the game goes. Yeah, he struggled with his free throw shooting, but he was competitive enough to get fouled and step up and shoot again. When you got to exert that many minutes and be the big guy that defends, that's a tough thing to do. And we just didn't have enough to go with him. And I think it really helps because now you see the guy he really is, but he's also a guy who's bringing the ball to the floor for us, making plays. And he's been a joy to be around because he's so competitive, so strong, he's so physical, and what makes him special is his ability to pass the ball and his willingness to give the ball up, because he can leave a game with 5 shots, but he's excited to see other guys make shots and make plays, and I think that's what makes him special.
I was thinking on Big Mike there, I think you touched on a lot of it, just how unique his style is. Have you ever kind of coached a player like that has his strength and his size and the ability to kind of suck defenders like he is 6'10", and kick it out and everything that he can do?
No, I think it's safe to say in my experience or in my life, I don't think I've ever been around a player that strong. But even the strength and the size to get it from end to end, I mean, from baseline to baseline, possibly 4 seconds with a basketball. So I've never seen that. But you have to be around him to bump against him to understand how physical he is. I mean, he's a physical player, man. I don't know how many through a course of a game can guard him one-on-one through a course of a game, because it's like he looked forward to it. He wants you to be physical. If not, he's going to bring the game to you. But no, I've never been around it before. No.
I follow the same principles for financial fitness as I do in the gym, because strength isn't built overnight. It takes dedication. Smart choices today lead to success tomorrow. OMB Bank, community banking made better. Member FDIC.
Coach, you kind of dipped into the Division II recruiting pool this offseason, including Tyreek Brooks. Talk about how the D2 guys have kind of come along.
Man, I think the thing is, guys can play everywhere. I think in most cases, I would say 60% of guys when they go D2 is probably not strong enough. Some guys get a little taller, have to improve their skill, but by the time that guy's a sophomore, junior, senior, they can play anywhere in America's basketball at that point because he has the experience and he's been a part of a team. But I just think most guys, D2 is just really, if it weren't for lack of size or just some guy's skill level, it is what it is. They're like the guys on this team, you can see, and you'll see when they get on the floor, like it's a good ball player. And I think you can play, you can play. And I think really when it comes down to teaching at the grassroots level, if you've been taught the game as a youth basketball player, it's just a matter of time before the other stuff kicks in.
Coach, to a man, your players out there in the interviews talked about how much improved or how better they are defensively. Does the coach agree with that this is a good defensive team?
We will see for sure. Now but what happens is so I go back, I don't want to keep doing this, but I go back to the team last year. You watch that team scratch, claw, and fight, just didn't have enough to overcome in some areas. This team has the parts, size, length, athleticism, all the stuff to be good, but this team also can score the ball because they got guys that can make plays. But what I always try to do, and I always try to live by this, even under Coach Katie, and somewhat my high school coaches, if our shots aren't falling, we always have to be able to do this. Defend, rebound, and play extreme. We have to hang our hat. We're going to do this every night. So now if we get up in the 80s, great. If it's in the 60s, we know we can do this. Now, can you do that? And I think that's the key for our guys, getting to understand every night we have to be this. And I think they've gotten better defensively because of who they're going against. I mean, iron sharpens iron, so I'm going against this guy who can play as a point guard. I'm going against this guy who can play as a big guy. I got a double Mike. If you don't double Mike in the post, he's putting you in the basket. So you have to double. So now in the process of Mike being double teamed in the post, you got to be able to pass the ball out. Now you got to sprint out. You got to be able to close out, stop the shot, stop the drive. So you're getting better just because of the talent is better. But are they better than the team last year defensively? I mean, I think you have the parts, yeah, certainly, but you have to prove it.
Coach, you said how you were working this season in the preseason for the summer. What excites you about this freshman class, especially with Trey Williams coming from one of the top programs in Missouri?
Good freshman class, Trey, Malachi, Colin, and Ryder. All talented guys. They do a tremendous job of hanging together. They're always together, all four of them. And they started that in the summer when Ryder was still in Australia playing. But they do a great job of hanging together. Trey's a talented player, 6'2". I know this says 6'3" here, so 6'3". But they do a great job. He gets to the paint. He's shifty with the basketball. He can really shoot at a high level. That's probably one of his biggest gifts, shooting the basketball. But running the point, he does it. He comes off ball screens. He read it. He's aggressive. He's shifty, and that's what makes him tough because he can maneuver with the ball and get you off balance, but he can really shoot it. And but he's also very smart. He understands. He's an intelligent guy. I think he might have came in with 15, 30 credit hours, so he understands. But also, between his grassroots coaches, his dad, and all these people, they helped him understand what it means to be a student athlete, what it means to be a good teammate, to be a good basketball player, to be able to listen and hear and absorb information and grow from it. So he has that. So he's one of those guys, if he stay on pace, then it'll be what it be in this game. He'll get everything he's supposed to get out of this game.
Coach, you've used the term smart a couple of times in the last couple of answers. How important is basketball IQ on this team, and do you feel like that has increased year over year for this group?
Well, I just think really, just in my experience in studying the game and just, talking with other coaches, you watch a game at the highest levels. And I think we have to be better. I'm just talking in terms of the United States. We have to be better at teaching the game at this age. We have to be better here. Ball hand, left hand, right hand ball hand, left hand layup, right hand layup, jump stop, bounce pass, two hand pass. Shot fake. We have to be better at teaching the game because I think now there's a lot of teaching, and nothing wrong with teachers. Our job to teach, but I think some of the things that were taught for me, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, we teach them today. So not that guys lack intelligence, because these guys are great in terms of understanding, getting good grades in school. But now it's like you have to use your mind on the floor. You have to study film. You have to be able to see. You have to anticipate this. If the guy's ready to pass this way, move your body this way. If he turns this way, you got to anticipate that. Just really understand and feel. By driving the lane, I jump stop, pass fake here in the zone. And maybe because we played zone throughout my career in high school, I can read the zone, I can flash in the zone, I can pass fake in the zone. But those are all the things that are being taught, which again, I was years ago was this age. And so a combination of this, but also a combination of toughness. Years ago, you didn't have to worry about a guy being tough. That was understood. Well, now you coaching and teaching that, you find that you're trying to get that. So I think those are the two areas I think in the last 8 to 10 years that we have to grow at and be better at is teaching the game, but also getting back to the key where we have a level of toughness and grit to them. And I think that comes with, if you're on high school teams, you have to be able to sit the bench if you hadn't earned it. So everybody doesn't get a chance to play, because when you go to college, you have to be proud of people proud of you not playing as a result of it. So now, yes, coach still likes you just because you're not playing. You have to, but you should have touched the baseline in high school. Now I'm getting you to touch it now. All those things that you should get 2, 3, 4 years ago, I have to give it to you now. And sometimes that's very uncomfortable for young guys when they come into these programs, because it's demanded of them when it should have been demanded years ago.
We got time for about 2 more questions, sorry.
Coach, what was the mindset and reasoning into developing this schedule for this year?
Winning basketball games, preparing your team to win games, but also it never changed in terms of scheduling teams. So, and I think if you're asking this, and if I'm here 10 years from now, and you can write this down, so you can ask me, you don't have to ask me 10 years from now. There are a lot of teams we call to try to come and play us. There's a lot of teams we call to try to go play. They won't play us. So, and then also in terms of buying games, if you can find an extra $400,000 or $500,000 for us to buy teams to come in and play us, I'll take it. So again, it's a lot harder than people think, scheduling games, and then we're not in a position to go play 5, 6, 7 road games just to get money. You lose those games, not what it does for your team and your program. So, but if you can get some of those Power 4s, and I say Power 5s because I consider the Big East a Power 5, to come in and play us, Because I think the last time somebody ever came was Arkansas, right? Yes. So when you find another one, you let me know. It's very hard to do. Make sure you write that down, just because again, we love to get them. We make a lot of calls, but it's extremely hard.
And then, Coach, after kind of enjoying the kind of year you did last year, I mean, it probably makes you more eager to start a season like now. So, how excited?
No, not for me. That was a lesson. I enjoyed it because it's a valuable lesson. It's growing. Those are all lessons. For me, no. Because what it does for me, I know who I am. You're constantly watching film. You're constantly studying, and how can you grow to get better? Though you didn't see the W at the end of the game, but you saw growth. Those are lessons, and that for me, that's in the win.